Welcome to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle, where experts in the industry inform, educate and inspire the community to be healthier, more balanced and live the lifestyle they enjoy. Our first guest today is Christine Hart-Savish. She is a breathwork and life coach, and she's here today to be discussing understanding overwhelm and sensitivity. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you, Megan. It's lovely to be here.
We're happy to have you, Christine. Christine, if you could tell us a little bit about what is overwhelm and sensitivity, and do you have any personal experience with it?
I certainly have lots of personal experience with it. I've had a very interesting journey in my life with overwhelm, and it's been huge. So the first time I remember this feeling coming over me, I didn't know it was overwhelm and I didn't know it was sensitivity back then. Had no idea. I was actually very young. And I remember this feeling coming over me of confusion and thinking, I don't understand this world. Really did not understand this world from very young. And I was almost frightened of this world, because what I found is that people would be speaking certain words, saying one thing, and yet I was having this swirling feeling coming from, now I know, from the other person. But at that stage when I was younger, I thought it was me. And I would just feel always very, very confused within myself. And what I find is that sensitivity, there's a lot of sensitive people that don't know they're sensitive, but they really it brings up this feeling of fear and self-doubt within you, and you feel a bit rocked, like not steady and stable within yourself. So what I found over the years, in fact, it took me till my early 30s to actually work out what was mine and what was someone else's.
Right, so this was a feeling you recognised at that point.
Absolutely. I recognised it because I learnt to meditate and I learnt to breathe correctly. And when I was in those states of meditation, I felt really still and calm, incredibly calm inside. And then I'd go back out into the world. And if I met somebody who was really speaking one thing, feeling something else, I started to recognise, hang on, I was really stable a moment ago. Now I've got this swirling feeling happening within me that's uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable. That's not mine. And I started to recognise that my energy, if you like, or my sensitivity was, and we all have this, was radiating out everywhere and picking up other people's feelings. That's what it is. You pick up the feelings in the atmosphere around you that people are emitting out into the world around us, basically. So I started to really look at this and look at people who were coming to see me as clients and with anxiety. And what I noticed is, I would say 99.9% of them are what I would call a sensitive. So when we're sensitive like that, there's so many signals coming in from people everywhere and from our atmosphere that you really become quite overwhelmed. You really do. So we need something that's going to anchor us in ourselves, into our own being, if you like. Really ground you. Yeah. And for me, that was meditation, daily meditation, and breathing. So that really helps, because breathing is like an anchor that we can really use, because it's the one thing we're always taking with us. I really got to a point where I wasn't coping with anxiety. So the funny thing is, I had this little torn out piece of paper from The Age, I remember that, and it was on meditation. And I thought, what is this piece of paper? I don't remember ever tearing it out of the paper at all. And I kept throwing this piece of paper away, I thought, and it would start appearing again. And in the end, when I wasn't coping, I thought maybe this is a sign that I should learn meditation. So I went and I learnt meditation. So from then on, I meditated twice a day, every day. And what that did it enabled me to have that sense of knowing what was my feelings in my balance and what was someone else's. So I found that once I really recognised what was going on and understood the energies, it worked for me in my life, because when I was seeing people and helping people with anxiety or overwhelm or stress or whatever it might have been, I could feel their feelings and know where they were sitting and ask all the right questions to bring up their emotional state. So it's really actually worked for me. So there's a lot of very positive points about being a sensitive. It's when it takes us over and we don't know how to use it, and it overwhelms us, that it becomes a problem. It's very uncomfortable, but it really has a gift to it as well.
What advice would you like our viewers to take away?
There's so many things I could say. I think one of the important things that I will say, the first thing I would advise anybody to do is to learn to breathe correctly. Because when we're in overwhelm, the breath closes down. What I mean by that is you start to hold your breath a bit, it becomes more shallow and the body contracts in a bit more, and the overwhelm takes you over. So if you could hold your balance by anchoring into your breath, even anyone listening now, if you just put your attention on your breathing and just see what it's doing, then deepen it. Just bit by bit, just deepen your breath. Just take it that little bit deeper, a bit rounder, a bit softer, a bit fuller. And that, if you do that even for about a couple of minutes, even 5 minutes, you will start to feel a calmness coming through you, and your energy expands out a bit, your life force, your aura, and you feel in your body much more grounded and much more centered in yourself. So you can actually go out into the world and you feel a lot better about who you are. So it really does work with both parts of the brain, left and right hemispheres of the brain, the nervous system. It balances our energy. And that's proven now scientifically. But my breath, that is one thing that I have used up the whole journey to actually hold me balanced. It's a wonderful thing. And as I started to say before, we've always got it with us. You can't leave home without it. So we don't have to, where did I put my breathing? It's there. It's there with us the whole time. So it's a wonderful gift we've been given by life, and it certainly helps with overwhelm.
Thank you, Christine.
It's my pleasure, Megan.
If you'd like to know more about Christine and understanding overwhelm and sensitivity, please go to Christine's webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we'll be back with another interesting guest and another interesting topic.
Stay tuned. After the break, health, life and love coach Heather Belle Murphy is talking about healthy eating for a healthy love life. Welcome back. We are here with Heather Belle Murphy, a health, life and love coach, and today our topic is healthy eating for a healthy love life. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you, Kirsty.
Now, can you tell me how the two are connected?
Absolutely, love to. This probably relates more to women and to female clients that I've worked with previously, having worked in the area of self-love and a healthy weight for about the last 25 years. What I commonly find is women will think that they're not worthy of having a great relationship with themselves, and that of course includes food. It's not like a concept where we become, I would do anything for my children or the family and my significant others or my parents or my best friend or my sister, even the cat and the dog, but I don't have to worry about me because I'm going to be the well of sacrifice. And the funny thing is, or the irony there is, of course, that we really need to be the fountain of love. And a fountain self-waters in a way, and it's a really beautiful metaphor where we self-nurture and self-water and pay ourselves that respect. And this is what I really find with women and working with women in the dating sense as well. that we need to first love and respect ourselves. Now, this is a bit of the paradigm that we're in, that we've been in for the last couple of thousands of years, where we're seen as the other. And so we're not seen as the queen anymore, and we don't treat ourselves as the queen. Now, part of the whole picture about loving ourselves first and being worthy and respecting ourselves is that we look after ourselves. And into that whole puzzle is going to be the puzzle and the pieces of the puzzle around food, choosing healthy foods in healthy amounts and consuming, healthy portion sizes. And that will fit into our picture of how we look after ourselves. And then a funny thing to consider is, do we really want to take perhaps bad habits that we may have picked up when we were younger and our metabolisms are a bit faster? Are those habits going to serve us going into our greater selves? Because we're only 20 for 5 minutes, let's face it. The majority of our healthy life is going to be around fitting in with families and, working healthily at a career. That's the big part. The teenage fun years and the 20s, they don't last forever. Let's look at those future selves that we're going to take into most likely, say, committed long-term relationships. And so it's a really great thing to be thinking about the healthy habits that you adopt then.
Heather, what is healthy eating?
You're probably aware that diet has changed and nutritional advice has changed a great deal in the last, say, 25 years. Now that's because in the last 20 years, with the rise of quantum medicine, science and research into nutrition can now look at the subcellular level. So now we have a much better understanding of how things like sugar and fats are metabolized in our actual cells themselves. So that's had a massive consequence for those high carb diets of the 90s, to which I was a victim of. So back in the day, I had a lot of grains. We now know that a high grain diet is quite inflammation making. I was always hungry because it was upsetting my blood sugar levels. So I don't instruct clients to eliminate carbs, of course, but carbs and grains in my diet is a much less of a feature than once upon a time, and it's also going to depend on body type. But as a rule of thumb, if we can stick to things like, I like to say to clients, think of your stomach as being 3 fist sizes. So if you eat that much at a time, you're reserving 1/3 of your stomach to actually move the food around and to digest it. So, that's a smallish portion size for a lot of people, and it does shock people. Now, of course, if you've got a big day or, you're running a marathon, that's obviously going to change. But we know overall people are consuming too much food, and they're often consuming the wrong types, which means not eating food that comes with a skin. It tends to come out of a packet. And everything pretty much that comes in a packet has been altered and interfered with, and it's had added, generally sugar or fat added to it. And so that's a thing to watch, instead of eating food in its natural state, in the right quantities at the right time, in the right way.
Do you have any tips for our audience?
I do. A lot has changed from that eating that where people have to eat 3 square meals a day. I would say find a mentor, even if that's via social media, that you would like to emulate. Obviously though, just be aware of keeping it real. We've all seen the social influencers who were sort of about 20, and it's very easy to look fabulous when you're in your 20s. So look for somebody who's perhaps around your age group, your kind of body shape, because of course we all know there are examples where women are trying to starve themselves into shapes or, impossibly impossible kind of supermodel kind of things, you know. And then we also realised that no matter how much, for example, Jennifer Aniston works out, you know, she still wears a lot of makeup, has a lot of spray tan, and then there's photoshopping that goes into that as well. So find somebody, perhaps your age group, your kind of body type, but then also somebody that you may wish to look like or emulate, that carries you into your best future self, by obviously adopting better habits and making healthier choices.
Thank you, Heather. That was fantastic. If you want more information on Heather Belle Murphy and healthy eating for a healthy love life, go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au, and we'll be right back after this break with another fantastic guest and fascinating topic. Stay tuned. After the break, animal communicator and therapist Carolyn Pope is talking about digital technology and animal therapy. Hello and welcome back. Today in the studio we have Carolyn Pope, an animal communicator and therapist, and today's topic is digital technology and animal health. Hello, Carolyn, and welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Can you please explain to us how today's digital technology helps with animal health?
Hugely. I use a software program that maps over 150 points on the body field. So you can call it the body field, you can call it the aura, energy field. People have been used to that concept for quite a while. But in this case, Peter Fraser mapped the body field, and I'm able to scan an animal and know exactly what areas of the body field need correction. And of course, no therapist is 100% on their game every day. So it backs me up really nicely. Think of it like cheat notes on the computer game. I can see exactly what's going on, if I'm missing something, extra areas for me to concentrate on, those sorts of things. It's absolutely invaluable, and I now scan every animal I work with.
And how do you apply this technology?
I've got a little handheld bioenergetic device, and it emits frequencies. When you get to quantum, everything is frequency. So if something's not working properly, it's simply resonating at the wrong frequency. So this will then unblock that particular frequency and the corresponding meridian. So for example, if I'm treating a lumbar spine, it'll be the frequency of lumbar spine plus the lung meridian and the bladder meridian. If I'm working on the thoracic spine, it will be the bladder meridian and the gallbladder meridian. It will be unblocking as well as that particular frequency. And of course, that's why the acupuncturists used to put needles in. When you unblock the energy and get the energy flowing, that's good health and less pain. It's absolutely fascinating. And once I've scanned an animal, which takes 3 seconds, so it's great for cats, I can work on an animal without actually touching it, just using this handheld device. And particularly with cats or an animal that's really traumatized, when we had the bushfires, we were able to do a lot and help a lot. And for wildlife, birds, these sorts of things, it's just amazing technology, and it really helps in a non-invasive way. And the less stress the animal is and the less pain the animal's in, obviously the quicker they're going to heal. I started with one of my own cats. It's always your own animals you do first. She was having pain-killing injections every second day. You couldn't pick her up. And we pretty much thought it was the end of the road, scanned her, and within an hour, she hadn't been able to use the litter. She was only able to defecate every 3rd or 4th day. It was just a disaster. And because she was so sore, within an hour, she used the litter. She was 100% until the day we euthanized her. She never needed another painkiller. That got my attention instantaneously. And then later down the track, one of my own animals, my Anatolian, for those that don't know, they're about 60, 65 kilo. They're a livestock guardian. He was 4. We now know he had a brain tumour. We didn't at the time, but he'd become really dangerous to the point that I'd actually separated the cats out of the room because I was so worried he was going to kill them. And his euthanasia had been scheduled the next day. I picked up my little handheld device because desperate people do desperate things. There were 5 brain settings on it. I used it. He lay down. He went to sleep. which he hadn't been able to do, got up and started to play for the first time in 6 months. Right, okay, cancelled the euthanasia. At first it was every second day I used the machine, he was fine. Ultimately, as the disease progressed, it got down to every 3 hours, day and night. And that gave me nearly 4 months that I hadn't realised how many favours I could pull both nationally and internationally. But there are some things you can't fix, and a brain tumour's one of them. But it gave me 4 months of quality for both of us before we had to make that decision. And that was just huge. He was safe around me. He was pain-free. Couldn't ask for more. You can't save everything, but you can give them quality while you have them.
And does it cover all sorts of ailments?
Absolutely. It maps the brain with people, the German new medicine of the brain, the emotions, it does the meridians, how much energy the body is or isn't pulling in. It maps the immune system. It's fascinating stuff.
And what advice can you give our animal lovers out there in terms of the health of their animals?
When you see something or you think they're not quite right, that's when you want to treat something. You don't want to wait. You think of an animal, oh, they're a bit flat and it's been more than 24 hours. That's when you want to get onto it, not waiting till the dog actually growls at the child or whatever because they've been in pain for 2 weeks. Or if they miss more than one meal. Again, why? Being proactive rather than reactive makes a huge, huge difference in the quality and also how quickly. The quicker you pick up something, the quicker the animal's going to heal. Same with us. So getting on top of it early rather than dragging it out, oh, but I can't get there for 3 weeks or whatever, makes such a difference to the quality of the animal's life.
Oh, thank you so much. That's great advice. If you want to learn more about Carolyn Pope and digital technology for animal health, go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. That is our show for today. Please join us next week for some more great guests and fascinating topics. If you'd like to know more about our show, please like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.